And now we welcome to the podium NGA's chair, Governor Steve Bullock.
Good morning and welcome back, everyone, to the second day of National Governors Association summer meeting. Certainly hope everyone enjoyed yesterday's policy sessions and yesterday evening's social events. We had a governor's only breakfast right before. Oh, there is Governor Herbert. Governor Herbert, again, I think I can speak for everyone in saying that that Tabernacle Choir was just absolutely incredible. So again, not you, the First Lady, because I know she did most of the work for these last couple days, but for that and also hosting us at the Capitol last night for a wonderful dinner, and you have a wonderful office building for sure. Before we get into our first full session of the day, we're going to kick today off with a celebration of America's space program. And the one instruction to me was, I can't take this to my 12-year-old son, so I'm not allowed to touch it. But to get us started, I'm going to recognize my friend and NGA Vice Chair, Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland. Governor Hogan.
Well, good morning, everybody. As you know, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11. And the moon landing represents one of humanity's greatest achievements. The story is often told through the eyes of three courageous astronauts. But what we could not see on our television sets that night was the years of painstaking work done by more than 400,000 Americans who made this historic 24,000-mile journey to the stars possible. It truly was a feat of American ingenuity and spirit. At the heart of this effort were the men and women of America's space program. And this anniversary is a great opportunity to say thank you. In Maryland, we have the Goddard Space Flight Center, which is home to Hubble Space Telescope operations. And Goddard also served as the main control center for communications during all Apollo missions in the 60s. Marshall Space Flight Center in Governor Ivey's state of Alabama is one of NASA's largest field centers with more than 6,000 employees. Marshall developed rocket engines and tanks for our space shuttles and built sections of the International Space Station. And it was at Marshall where they designed, built, and helped launch the Saturn V rocket that carried the astronauts of Apollo 11 to the moon. We are very fortunate to have with us today the director of the Marshall Center. Her 32-year NASA career includes decades in the space shuttle program. She guided the successful flyout and retirement of the shuttle in 2011. She was one of the program's managers for the Space Launch System program, where she helped lead the development of the most powerful rocket ever built. Among the honors she has received are the NASA Outstanding Leadership Medal and the Presidential Rank of Meritorious Executive Award, the highest honor for career federal employees. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Jody Singer.
So good morning. I was going to say, this is a wonderful event to be able to participate in, and I'm looking so forward to telling you a little bit about NASA. So on behalf of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, I thank you for this opportunity to tell you about my job, to tell you about my passion, and to talk about what we do to explore, discover, and inspire the next generation. But first, I'd like to start with a video about NASA and our plans to return to the moon. So Jordan, if you could roll the video.
Ignition sequence start. All engines are running.
We have taken tremendous steps.
We choose to go to the moon. Before this decade is out,
we have achieved the earth-shaking, the breathtaking, the groundbreaking, and left a mark in the heavens. Our successes build one upon another and amplify what is possible. It's time we take the next great leap. We're building the next chapter of American exploration, returning to the moon to stay, so we can go beyond to Mars, to expand what's possible and further our understanding. The architecture for these missions is already taking shape. We will go with new systems, bold designs, and a sustainable mission. You can hear it, taste it, touch it. We are going. We are training, testing, pressing our pioneering spirit into every component, defining our resolve with every line of code, and securing our success with every welcomed partnership. This is not hypothetical. This is not about flags and footprints. This is about sustainable science and feeding forward the advance of the human spirit. Because we are the pioneers, the star sailors, the thinkers, the visionaries, the doers. And because we stand on the shoulders of giants to go farther than humanity has ever been, we will add our names to the rolls of the greatest adventurers in history. Every day, every mission, we advance this calling. We are NASA. And after 60 years, we're just getting started.
So hopefully that woke you up. So I am blessed to get to work on the nation's program, and I'm very proud. But one of the things that I want to make sure that you walk away today is understanding the investment in space, and it provides direct economic benefits and creates a variety of jobs in each of your states. I hope that each of you in front of you see some of the goodies that we put in front of you. You have a NASA sticker, a NASA pin. You also have a bumper sticker that hopefully you will display on your bumper that you can take home with you, the governors, that basically says the space runs through exploration. And I happen to pick Governor Herbert, Utah, since I happen to be in Utah. So it's a fun bumper sticker. Please enjoy, because I do want you to know that you are a part of it. Also, you know, I'm a little bit of show and tell too. Hopefully each and every one of you find on your mat a thing that shows the United States. You know, we like to say, you know, stars fell in Alabama, but I can say there's stars that have fallen all over the United States. And the reason I have that chart is it shows that more than 3,000 companies across the U.S., over the 50 states. So yes, your state is actively involved in the exploration program. You can kind of look and see the different stars or different sizes. Those different sizes depict the amount of companies that you have. And if you would like for us to be able to provide you the different companies that support aerospace and our mission, not only from human exploration to science to technology, I'll be glad to provide that at some point in time. So again, you're a part of it. So now I'd like to take you a little bit further into how NASA is doing it. I want to talk about our plan and how we use to learn the moon to be able to go further. And we say, the moon lights the way. So in lighting the way, obviously we've got to talk about Apollo. For those of you that are old enough, hopefully you remember what you were doing. You were probably watching it on a black and white TV. And you remember maybe what happened. For those of you that weren't alive, I will tell you, hopefully you understand that the benefits that you get. So last week we celebrated the Apollo 11 mission, which captured not only our nation but the world's attention. It demonstrated the power of America's vision and technology to inspire. It represents the greatest engineering and scientific achievements of our lifetime. Many of those benefits we enjoy today were birthed from those missions. Can you think about it, how you would do today without your computer, without your cell phone, without Tang? You know, you think about that. Could you survive a minute without your cell phone? So returning to the moon will only leave us more to be able to change civilization. And so that's why NASA is committed to achieving the goals of space exploration, innovation, and discovery. So the charge. Many of you probably have heard that the President and Vice President in March challenged us in Huntsville, Alabama, my home base at Marshall Space Flight Center, but he challenged all of NASA with the administrator there and said, I want our nation to be committed to returning Americans to the moon, and charged us to accelerate our then plan by having boots on the moon by 2024 and to have a sustained presence by 2028. This accelerated approach brings our nation, our workforce, and our economic base into play. We are thankful for the bipartisan support that is helping us pave the way for a sustainable return to the moon and taking us on to the next giant leap, which is sending astronauts to Mars. So to best accomplish this goal, NASA is going forward to the moon under the program called Artemis. The Artemis program, if you didn't know, Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo. And the twin sister of Apollo, Artemis, is the goddess of the moon, so very appropriate. So Artemis personifies NASA's path to the moon. So these sustainable steps is that we're building a mission that takes us a sustainable presence, not just going and planting a flag. It is sustainable presence that will take us forward. So why go to the moon? Many of us can pick different reasons. We can talk about the strategic leadership. We can talk about the global participation. But one of the things that is passionate to me is talking about the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math. We know that Apollo spun off many folks that were inspired to go into STEM, and we believe that's also what we want to do today. Just think about it. If you think about the youngsters in the class today, the ones that are in junior high or in grammar school, they are the next astronauts going to Mars. So we really want to challenge them and provide them to go the route. So telling you how we're going to get there. I'll give you a really quick summary. If you look at the top of the chart, it talks about how we will be able to go from Earth's surface. And you think about today, we have an International Space Station that's 200 miles out. We have vehicles that are going to commercial to do that. We're trying to go 250,000 miles out and eventually own about 2 million miles out. So it requires a different vehicle. That vehicle is the Space Launch System and the Orion vehicle, which is capable of taking them there. It is broken into missions, which is a crew mission, an uncrewed mission in the 2021 timeframe, the Artemis mission, Artemis 2, which is the first time we'll have humans that will be on the surface of the moon, and not just going to the surface of the moon, going to the South Pole for the first time. In addition to that, there's other assets we have to have in place. A gateway to allow us flexibility for a safe return, pressurized crew module, and then the Artemis 3, which is in 2024. In parallel, there are other things that we're supporting, which is with commercial launch vehicles. It's being able to set the systems that we have to have in place to be able to go forward, because that is going to be part of understanding the solar, and understanding the moon, understanding the soil, and where we want to land to get the critical information that we need. And again, really kind of giving it another accent is a parallel path to success. It's not an or, it's an and. It is the ability to launch crew on the Orion and SLS, and the ability to launch cargo on commercial crew. So it truly is an and. And again, I get to take this rocket home with me, but I will tell you, this is the Space Launch System. It is built by contractors all over the United States, from Utah to the motors, to the engines, to you think about California, you think about all over the place, as well as things that are produced, Colorado, you name it. And again, it's over 3,000 employees that are involved, and 3,000 companies that are involved over the 50 states. So it truly is a national program that gives over 60,000 jobs. So it truly is a national vehicle. So the success of Artemis will provide a sustainable presence in space. But what else needs to be sustainable? And I will tell you, not only having the largest vehicle ever built that takes you on a mission, but it's also having the skills to build it, as well as all the things that we need. So it's more than an economic benefit, it's the inspiration and the investments that we have. And the big investment is in our workforce. So the workforce that NASA is passionate about, as this chart says, inspire, innovate, explore. We promote education. We have a large component of what we do, and I personally go out and talk to young folks and encourage them to follow STEM, and it's critical that we hit them at an early age. You know, enhancing education opportunities, internship programs, pathway cooperative programs, engaging K through 12, and examples include up in the right-hand corner where we have a rover, where you have teams that come together from all over the United States and the world to be able to compete in these competitions. They have to put together a machine, they have to be able to operate it, and we definitely put them through obstacles just like they were on the terrain of Moon and Mars. And it is a team building and character building exercise, and we have folks that volunteer. Also, we have participation where we look at new technologies that are in each and every one of your states that we're participating with you in. And that includes advanced manufacturing, material processing, advanced things that we have to have for life systems. It is all very critical. So we promote these engagements, and it results in spin-offs. Did you know that more than 1,800 recorded spin-offs come from NASA and the participation that we have with many of your contractors and your communities? So the Artemis program will continue what Apollo did, what Shuttle did, and continue to have those spin-offs that includes examples of advanced manufacturing where you have to have parts that are made in half the time and have to still perform to the space environments and withstand it. So it is amazing, that ability. And I will tell you, in closing, the benefits from exploration have a significant impact, and we will see many more as we continue to explore in the future. The future is so bright, it is just unimaginable, the things we knew before. We can't even imagine what we know today and what we'll know in the future. Think what we'll be doing in 50 years from now when I'm speaking at a governor's convention. It will be something. I may be in a wheelchair, but we'll see. They'll prop me up. But do keep in mind, all seriousness, you know, every dollar invested in space doesn't go to space. It stays here on Earth. It helps communities grow. It has the economic benefit. It gives inspiration. It gives academia a place to definitely work and partner together. And Apollo missions were what was good for space, good for the United States, and it's even more true today. So just like Apollo, we expect Artemis investments to pay off, dividends on our economy, result in new and game-changing activities, and definitely to be an inspiration to the future generations. I love what I do. I encourage everybody to participate in it. We have a tremendous challenge ahead of you. I won't tell you that cheating gravity and being part of space exploration is not challenging. We learn something every day because we're doing something that hasn't been done before or doing it in a different way and challenging a diversity team to be able to do that too. So we have a tremendous challenge ahead, but I can tell you the payoff and the benefits are wonderful. So today, we must decide as a nation if you want to continue our legacy of American preeminence in technology, in science and exploration, or do we want to take a back seat and watch as other nations define our future and define where we can be? I don't know about you, but I can tell you, just like the chart says, let's go. The time is now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to lead. And thank you for your support. Let's go launch. So thank you so much, and I know we're trying to adhere to a schedule. I believe in schedule. I do work for NASA, so we got to launch and land on time. But it's up to you as far as any questions or anything I'd be willing to entertain, or if not, at a break, I'll be hanging around and love to do that too.
I think we have time for a couple questions if any governor has questions. Governor Herbert.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I've lived long enough to watch the Apollo landing in the beginning. I heard President Kennedy, we're going to go to the moon, charge us all up. Tell me on the fiscal side of it, because Washington doesn't seem to have any way to balance their budget now. Is this going to be an added problem? How are we going to pay for it? What's it going to cost to continue? I know Buzz Aldrin wants us to get to Mars as soon as we can. And so what's the cost of this going to be?
Well, I would tell you, from the budget that we have today, it is very critical that the bipartisan support makes a huge difference. And the ability to have sustained funding makes a difference in us to have a sustainable path of being able to get there. As you know, NASA's budget is somewhere in the $21 million, And that goes, and that's only, you know, a fourth of a percentage point of the national budget. So we do a lot with a little, but we do know that every dime counts. So I would tell you, the budget we get, we appreciate. We put it to definite use. We're very, very conscious of spending the dollars. But it does matter to have the sustained process, because not only does that sustained funding make a difference for our large companies, it also makes a difference for the vendors, because the vendors also need, in each one of your states, need that sustained funding to keep going, to keep the technology going, and for us to have boots on the moon by 2024.
There is also an economic benefit that we've received with the space program. I mean, we joked last night about Tang. You know, one thing we remember coming from
I picked that up from you last night. I remembered that.
But there's been a lot of things that we enjoy today
Absolutely.
in the marketplace that came out of the development of the space program. Is there any kind of an economic estimate of what that's spun off to be for us as for our economy?
I know we have over 1,800 spinoffs. I don't, in front of me, have the exact dollar value. There's spinoffs that we can talk about, and then there's intangible benefits. Like we talk about the use of your cell phone, the health and medical activities. You think about the things that even Northrop Grumman in your state has, which talks about the ability to work with landmines, to be able to get rid of those. Also the things that you see in a safety airbag, to the medical as well as the medical equipment that is used. But I would be glad to be able to get that information and give you specifics. And that would be great, because that really does, the spinoff does make a difference.
One last question, Governor Ducey.
Thanks, Jody. Great presentation. I'm a big NASA fan. It's
Thank
my
you.
first television memory was of that moon landing. Can you speak a little bit to Governor Herbert's question regarding where we are fiscally as a nation? And I certainly think this can be a wonderful investment. You mentioned sustainability, exploration, pioneering. Can you touch a little bit on the national defense aspect of it?
From a NASA perspective, I would tell you that, you know, having national defense and our ability to safely launch and have the ability to have world peace in a global environment is a top priority of NASA. From talking about the defense, that would not be my area, that would be the defense area. I would tell you we do find synergies with the defense because of our supplier base. There are many suppliers that support defense activities that also are the vendors and suppliers that we work with at NASA. So the ability, we look every day to find the synergies, not only in technology, but the business bases to the community that we can support.
And the relationship with the Department of Defense, or the coordination with Defense?
Well, I have to say the relationship is we definitely have our two different swim lanes. Ours is definitely exploration and discovery, where the defense is defense. But there's definitely synergies that you could find from the technologies and how we work together to try to do what the common goal is, particularly in our vendors.
Please join me in again thanking Jody Singer.
Thank